Greetings, humans and non-humans. It's me, Basement Dweller, and today we have a video. I gotta work on my intros, but today I want to talk about something that recently, I was acquired in the mail. I was gonna save this type of video to like much later. I was thinking like maybe around when I got all three expansions, but for reasons I'll explain later, I have received the Edmund booster pack, and it is very groovy right here. You know, like I don't know, I'm just gonna do a little small review, tell people if they should buy it or not. The short answer is yes, yeah, you should buy it. So yeah, this is the Edmund booster. It comes like a little, like a booster pack thing you would find from trading card games, but it's actually a bit bigger, surprisingly. Here's the back in case you're interested in seeing that. As well as, oh wait, that's me putting in my, yeah, guys, I own it now. Ooh. Wait, I'm gonna break it down for the whole pack. It's just, I think like 14 or 15 cards. They're all, as it's stated right here, it's called the Edmund Booster Pack because they're all themed around Edmund's other games besides Isaac, which is pretty cool. We had some cards like that introduced in the Warp Zone expansion, but now we have more of them, so that's pretty cool. Also, I gotta point out, I should have a link in the description for this if you want to buy these cards. For maestromedia.com, I'm assuming that's what the website's called. Yeah. So first off, we actually got 3 characters in this expansion. So by default, the pack's worth it. You know, I think characters are like the highest priority you want to have in an expansion because it's like, whoa, I want to play them. And the best part is, these aren't Kickstarter exclusives. You could buy these, you know, whenever they're in stock, which I'm really glad that that's the case. So, let's go with character number 1. We got Stacy from Mugenics, a basic 2-1 stat character with the ability to play additional loot card, and they have a little quote. Meow, or meow, meow, meow. Okay, I probably like disturb some people with my weird cat sounds, but so Stacy has a starting item of Unstable Data. Unstable Data is a passive eternal treasure card right here. At the start of your turn, you roll, and basically you 1 to 2 remove all counters from this. 3 to 4 put a heart counter on this, and 5 to 6 put an attack counter on this. So this is pretty cool. So Stacy could build up and get very strong over time. The idea is that you want to avoid rolling 1s and 2s. My only small complaint would be like I think I would have swapped the effects for 1 and 2 with 5 and 6 because I feel like rolling there's more cards that help you increase your rolls to not roll a 1 and 2, but there's not that many cards that make you lower your rolls. So that's my only small tiny complaint. Other than that, I think Stacy is gonna be a powerhouse character. Next we got Clubby the Seal, which also is a 2-1 stat character with ability to tap to play additional loot card. And their quote is, Clubby spends most of his time collecting human skins to sell on the black market. And the starting item is Club. And let's see what Club does. Club is a active eternal treasure card right here. And rewards from non-boss monsters are doubled on your turn, so that's on the passive ability that's always there. And you can choose 1 of the 2 taps right here. The first tap is, if it's your turn, put a monster not being attacked on the bottom of the monster deck. That's pretty handy. It's if you don't like a certain monster, or there's like a boss monster that's easy to kill, but like you're not in a good position, but you don't want your friends to kill it. You just put it in the bottom of the monster deck. Pretty good. Other ability is cancel the tap or paid ability of an item or a loot being played. This is all abilities except eternal. Yeah, until the next time your turn ends. That is pretty handy. I don't know. Maybe it might be me, but I feel like Clubby the Seal might be the underwhelming character of the bunch, but still a pretty fun character to have around. Did I say their name? Yeah, so I'm making sure, like, they want to make sure I was making up the name of the seal's name. But yeah, it's Clubby the Seal. Next up is Gish. 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 Okay, so, I don't know what's up with, like, Gish and balancing and arguments, debates, controversies. It seems like this ball of tar can never get away with this, but let's start talking about Gish. So Gish is a 2-1 stats right here, basic, and then also this ability of play additional loot card on the turn. And the quote is, "What isn't easy when you're a 12-pound ball of tar?" Which I believe that's actually a quote from the game cover box art or something like that. So the starting item is ball of tar. Ball of tar. So we're gonna have to address. There's two versions of this card later. So there's ball of tar. Discard a loot card. Choose one. Copy a non-trinket, non-ambush loot being played by another player. That is pretty insane right there. Like, whoa, oh my goodness! Like, I could tell some people are like thinking like, oh man, if I had a sack, you know, I could like copy that and have infinite exploitations right here, you know. Like, there's a lot of like this is a pretty insane. You just make your trash loot into better loot cards that way. And as well as that, you have the ability to put a monster not being attacked in a discard, and then also prevent one. So like, oh my goodness, prevent the next 1 damage you would take this turn. So like, your loot cards are just extra HP. You know, you can just use it to just temporarily, you know, protect yourself. Which is, oh my goodness, like, all these are insane. But the top one was someone saying that it's gonna get nerfed. I'll explain that later. Yeah, Gish is just OP, like, that's just, it's funny. I know there's, like, a whole debate of, like, oh, should cards, you know, power creep, you know, the previous cards and whatnot. I don't know, personally, I've always said Forest Souls feels like Mario Party. It's a party, you know, casual card game. There's no, like, secret underground Forest Souls tournaments going on with regulations and whatnot. I mean, I think I've heard maybe Russia had a Forest Souls tournament going on. I don't know, but for me, the game's like Mario Party, so I'm kind of okay. And besides, you're encouraged to shuffle the character deck, and you get a random one, so you don't know what you're gonna get. So I don't know. I'm kind of okay with strong characters being there, because there's a chance you might get them. There's a chance you'll never see them. You know, it's all Mario Party. Yeah. So we're not onto the treasure cards right here. We got a friend. I think the treasure cards are like there's nothing controversial about those. There's no like I know people were like freaking out about like the power of Stacy and Gish, especially Gish. But for here, you know, we're on like, you know, simple street, I guess you could say. So we have a passive treasure card right here called a friend, based on Ash's friend from The End Is Nigh. Each time a soul enters another player's control, put a counter on this. When this has 3 counters on it, it loses all abilities and becomes a soul. I'm a fan of alternate soul gaining methods, so this is pretty cool. I guess you're just building your friend up, and once he's created, you just claim him as, you know, your own soul. And that's pretty neat. I actually love that. Next up, we have an active treasure. I just realized I don't have the other one, but okay. So Blast Matter TNT, you tap, you roll 1 to 2, take 1 damage, 3 to 5, deal 1 damage to a player monster. Each time you gain 3 or more cents at once, recharge this. So roll a 6, nothing happens basically. Next up is the monster from Ether, however you say it. While this is charged, other players can't choose you or something you control as the target of a loot or ability. And you can also tap to cancel your attack and heal to full HP. Pretty handy. Pretty good. I just realized that a lot of these cards have like dual abilities. That's pretty nice. Each time you die, put 3 counters on this. You could pay up to remove 2 counters from this. Choose a player. The next time that player would die this turn, prevent death, and heal them to full HP, they may cancel their attack. That is very, very good. My only complaint would be that you have to die to get the counters, but you get 3 counters right away, so that's pretty good. If it was like 1 counter at a time, that would be a pretty useless treasure, but the fact you get 3 counters, you're gonna get some use from this, and I like that a lot. Next up are the monster cards, and yeah, these are pretty fun monsters, I think. We got Weltling. They're a basic monster right here with 3/3/1 stats right there. Oh, I forgot to mention the sets have a little sun symbol to represent that this is from the Summer of Isaac collection. I think that's what they're calling it. So at the start of each turn, put a counter on this. This has -1 HP for each counter on this. Each turn player rolls an attack roll 1 that deals 2 damage to each player. Pretty interesting. Next up, we got Light Switch, which I believe this is a new background. Forgive me for not knowing who made the background. Actually, let me do some quick research real quickly. Maestro Media, where are you? There you are. Okay. Then let me go through their posts. Okay, Light Switch's artwork was done by Whale Bean Art. Yeah. So we got new background artwork right there, which is pretty cool. So Light Switch has a 6/1/0 stats. You know, those are pretty rare to find. You know, 0 stat attacks. Each time the active player deals damage to this, they roll, and so you could take 3 damage, take 2 damage, gain 1 cent, loot 1, 5 cents, or gain a treasure. And it has 6 HP, so like you're gonna like get 6 random events happening to you, and you need a 1 or plus to hit it. Which I just really realized that this might be one of the few cards that is a 1+ stat right here for the dice stat. And then when you kill it, you roll and you gain X cents. Honestly, this seems like a pretty fun monster to fight. I really hope I could encounter this monster card. I play with every single card, so like it's gonna be like quite a while till I encounter this card. Next up is Coil 3/3/1. When this enters play, each player gives their hand to the player on the right. When this dies, put it in the monster deck. 4 cards on top. Yo, okay, I actually never sat down and read this card, so that's pretty cool. So it's gonna keep coming back, and you could just have this like to give your hand to players on the right over and over again. That's pretty cool. And also, when it dies, you loot 2. I'm a fan of this one. I love the potential chaos this will give. Then we got Police Lineup, which is I really love the artwork right here, and I love how the little paper has a little extension thingy, so it looks like Isaac's speech bubble right here. Police Lineup. All non-active players secretly decide on which non-active player is guilty to the end of turn. The active player chooses a non-active player. If the chosen player is guilty, they die. The active player gains +1 treasure. Otherwise, the guilty player gains +1 treasure, and the active player skips their next turn. I love this. Like, I don't know about you, like I said earlier, Mario Party right here. This is basically like a little mini game, you know, like we need more cards like this, you know, like, this is prime 4 souls right here. I better not get quoted on this. This is prime 4 souls. But, this is very groovy. I actually do like this a lot. I know I said that a lot in this video, like, oh, I like this card a lot. But, yeah, I guess I'm just easy to please when it comes to 4 souls. Next up, we actually got a boss from here. Sirius Peachy? I don't know how to say his name. They're a 3/3/1 stat boss right here. At the start of each turn, the active player rolls. So if you roll a 1 to 3, choose another monster at random, put in discard. 4 to 6, they must attack this turn. And then, yeah, each time this takes damage, it deals 1 damage to the active player. So yeah, this is a pretty little feisty little boss right here. And you can also get a treasure out of it. Pretty neat. So you may be wondering, you know, hey Dweller, why did you get this expansion like early and reviewing now? Because it's a small expansion, and I admit, like, you know, this video would probably be like maybe like 15 minutes video long if I just ended right here. The reason why I did this is because I have recently found out that these 3 cards are potentially going to receive changes. We've actually seen Ball of Tar's change. Let me whip that out real quickly. So we have, this is the one I have right here, but in the future prints, we will be receiving this right here. Let me just fade away, or maybe just hop over here a bit. Okay, so as we can see right here, the top bullet has changed. So copy a non-trinket, non-ambush loot card being played by another player that hasn't already been copied this turn. Now that's a pretty big difference right there, and I don't know about you, but I've come from like an age of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon trading cards, and whenever me and my friends were to, or family member were to play a card game, we found like a misprint card, we would do what the misprint card is. So essentially, these are like 2 different characters. You know, it's one's a nerf and one's like uber strong. The other one's a slight nerf version of that card. But for collector's purposes, I think it's pretty worth it to just quickly nab yourself this expansion just to have, you know, the old, you know, the OG print run of these cards. And that's why I decided to, you know, obtain this as soon as possible, because while you don't need it for like a complete collection, you need it for a 112% complete collection. What's a 112 complete collection? I made a video about this, but any card that is officially available to the public at some point, including different variations, I consider part necessary for the collection. And I'm pretty glad to have a hold of these 3. So that was Ball of Tar. That's the most drastic one. Blast Minor TNT is actually got a slight buff. So the second ability, where you roll a 3 to 5, is going to be changed to a 3 to 6. It was always meant to be that, just that I think Mr. McMillan accidentally put a 5. And lastly is Surius Pishi, the cactus guy. So this one, I know for a fact the Ball of Tar and Blast Minor, there's a good chance they are gonna do reprints. And if you have the old versions, and they haven't done it yet, you know, so don't ask right now. This is time in the video. But later you could request for like the new versions, because like they are gonna do reprints of those. But Surius Pishi, I'm not sure if they're really gonna do this. I think it's just the potentially they might. So they maybe ask you, Dweller, why would they do this? You know, like, so like Surius Pishi, you know, if you didn't notice, they use the monster paper. So let me whip up monster here. So the monster paper, man, I really wish I had like a cursor or something. But like, okay, look at like the corner of like where like the heart symbol's at. Yeah. And then look a little bit left to the paper, so it's like all reddish hue right there, right? And Pishi has that, but it was supposed to have the boss paper, which I didn't realize there was a difference until people pointed this out. So this actually blew my mind. So I got an example right here. We got Chubb, and we can see on her card, there's like little blackish, like charcoalish tinted to the paper. So I'm just gonna swap back and forth so you can see the difference. Just look at the paper, not the artwork, just paper. So yeah, potentially they might give Pishi the boss paper, but that's just a cosmetic change, and it's pretty cool to say that you would own these 3. So if you were like waiting on like getting like the triple pack, which I still recommend doing that because you do save money from that. I would also, like, if you're like a super diehard collector, I would recommend trying to get a hold of the first print run. Mostly for Ball of Tar, because it's essentially a different character. But just for the fact that you say that you have these cards, you know, like, I know, like, in the secondhand markets, for other card games, these would be worth a lot, but here in Forest Souls, it's like, oh, you don't have the better versions of these cards? Okay. And then the seller the buyer just leaves. So like, I don't think you're gonna get much value from selling these cards right here. But for collector's purposes, I think these are pretty cool to have. So I would recommend doing that if you're like a diehard collector like I am. And overall thoughts, I do think this expansion on its own is worth getting. There are some pretty fun cards around here, and if you're a big fan of Mr. McMillan's cards, not cards, his other games besides Isaac, these are pretty cool to have, honestly. And I guess the only complaint I would have would be like maybe the characters might be a bit too strong, but I think we've been dealing with too strong characters since Force Souls Plus, so like I don't even know like what that even means anymore at that point. So yeah, overall, yeah, I would rank it out of 1 out of 10. Buy it out of 10. That's what it is. Just buy it. Yeah, pretty groovy. I've been the Basement Dweller. Take care. Have yourself a groovy day / night. I'm getting out of here. Bye-bye.